What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. And this weekend, there's one team I just really wanted to rebuild. I would have done it earlier, but figured I'd save it for the weekend, and that is the Vegas Raiders. After firing Josh McDaniels, which they should have done the second he said, well, my plan for life beyond Derek Carr is to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. I would have fired him on the spot. He is fired now, and fans are cautiously optimistic that the Raiders, by announcing that Aiden O'Connell, all Farva here from Super Troopers, is going to be the new starting quarterback, that they might be a little more entertaining. They might be able to force feed the ball to Davante Adams, but ultimately, you're probably ready to tank. You're probably ready for the draft to be here. No more wins. Put yourself in a position to go grab a quarterback. So what I have done is we have hired a new head coach, and this is not, obviously, you're going to see the thumbnail, but I have right now in my head, there's two players I'm going to end up getting. I'm either going to try and get the top quarterback, and if I do get the top quarterback, that'll be Caleb Williams. If I don't get the first pick, which I probably should be able to get the first pick, but the last rebuild we did, I literally could not trade up to get the first pick, and I ended up missing out on an X-Factor edge rusher. Sometimes it'll happen, and if I can't get that first pick, I'm going to go with a backup option at quarterback, which is actually the one I kind of want to use, and that is Drake May. But if I don't get Drake May, and we can find out to get number one, or however many good quarterbacks are in this draft class, we will either get Caleb Williams or Drake May. I don't know as of right now in recording, but it would be kind of cool if I can find a way to get the number one quarterback in this class. He ends up being good, and we can pair Lincoln Riley with his USC quarterback, Caleb Williams. The storyline writes itself. But I think top head coaching hires, I think the big three this offseason, one, Ben Johnson, the OC of the Lions. I think two will be, I want to just guess, Cincinnati Lou, the Bengals DC there. I think number three is Lincoln Riley. I don't know the financials of it, because obviously USC paid a pretty penny to get him to jump ship from Oklahoma to USC. I just think Lincoln Riley's at that Chip Kelly spot where he's good offensively, obviously can work wonders with the quarterback. It's just, does he like recruiting? USC doesn't recruit like crazy. Does he like playing defense? Does not. And obviously in the NFL, you have a little bit more of a, you can lean on like a more established defensive name than whatever the hell's going on in college, because he's never had a good defense. I think if at any point, and Lincoln Riley's been one of those big names, so is he going to make the jump from college to the pros? 5 years now, 6 years now, he's been a guy that literally shits out Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. And I think after another disappointing season at USC, I think what better time than now, especially to go with maybe his most talented quarterback prospect that he has had in his time in college, in Caleb Williams. So that might work itself out, but that's why we went ahead with Lincoln Riley, just to give us a shot that we could get that pairing. But I'll tell you right now, if I can't get that first QB, Lincoln Riley and Drake May, absolutely, we'll run. I think Drake May. I think the Raiders might not have the first overall pick. Those 3 wins they already got, there's some teams I don't know if they're going to get 3 wins. So they could always trade up to the pick, which we might do. But I also think the Raiders, you might just have to accept the fact that you might have to get the second best quarterback, and that's going to be Drake May, who arguably might be more refined and more pro-ready and might be the better NFL quarterback than Caleb Williams. So looking at the rest of the roster, we're starting at live. We're 3-5 right now. We are going to make the move of putting Aiden O'Connell at starting quarterback, because that may help us not win another game for the rest of the year. But the rest of the roster, there is some upside here. I take a look on the offensive line. I think Parham and Colton Miller, those are going to be guys for 5 years. They should be here. They should be developmental pieces on the O-line. They got Michael Mayer, who's, I think, one of the steals of the draft. Second round. This guy was a lot going in the first round. Maybe not a freak athlete, but an absolute safety net, who I think is going to be a really good tight end, and sooner than later a top 10 tight end in the NFL for a long time. You got Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Jacoby Myers. Who's this? My webcam's cutting it off. If I had to guess, couldn't. DeAndre Carter, former Eagle, returned man. But they got obviously great skill position players, with Davante Adams being one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. Now he's 30, so we're going to hope for a 5-year rebuild that he will play not only full 5 years, but also not regress too harshly. And I think the sooner we get a better quarterback in the scheme, the better we're going to be off. And then you got Josh Jacobs, who, IRL right now, I think he's kind of a victim of his surroundings. But in Madden, he is top 3 running back in Madden. He is one of the best running backs in franchise mode, and we're going to be able to utilize him for a full 5 years. We're going to get really the whole 5 years of this rebuild. He is going to be in his prime. So we are really a quarterback and filling up the offensive line away from having a very good offense. Defensively, now this is a trigger word for Lincoln Riley, because he has just never had a good defense. We got some pieces in place. We also are going to have to do a lot of work. On the front seven, I think Diablo is going to get a lot of tackles and should put himself in a position to get a dev trade. And he is a modern-day linebacker, kind of built like a big safety, great sideline ability, great skill set. Really just missing a dev trade, especially at 25 years old. He can go the full 5 years. On the defensive side, they got Tyree Wilson, who's actually popped off for us in my simming to this point. He was our training camp breakout where he got like, what, +2, +3 finesse and power move. We got gold medal in his drill, so he's up already to a 79 star dev from his rookie campaign, which is an outstanding starting point for him. And you pair with that, one of the most underrated players, and I say that as a 97 X Factor. I still think he's underrated. Doesn't get, maybe he's not Myles Garrett, maybe he's not Nick Bosa, maybe he's not TJ Watt, like in terms of recognition anyways, but I think Max Crosby is a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL. And I think it's just a victim of like the Raiders just haven't been good since he's been there. It's that happens every Calvin Johnson. I think there's an argument that Megatron never really got the limited stretch because the Lions were shit for like most of his time there. If he was actually played on a good team, I think his legacy would be even higher. And I think that is kind of, at least in terms of the top tier edge rushers in the NFL, that is what Max Crosby is dealing with. But I mean, him and Wilson, they're going to be anchors for this defense for this full rebuild. Nate Hobbs, 24, 25, 82 star dev. We can work with that. You got Morik here, who is up to an 81 right now with a star dev. We can work with that. I think we got to find a linebacker. We got to find a D tackle. Maybe get a little younger at corner. But not a lot of missing pieces on both the offense and defense. And because the special teams is actually pretty good, special teams are on point with punter and kicker. That is like the most Raiders thing ever, going back to Shane Leckler and Sebastian Janikowski. So we have a good draft here. And then ideally, we're going to find our quarterback here in this very first draft. If we could pair that with, say, let me get one of them juicy 73, 74 hidden dev guards that are sometimes there in the mid-rounds. Let me find a tackle. Let me find a guard that I can kick out to tackle. Let's get a quarterback, a guard, and a tackle in this first draft. And then the next draft, we'll get a D tackle, a linebacker, corner cheese, because the draft class always have, I'm already mapping this out in my head. We are going to win a Super Bowl. We are going to turn this around. It is just about what quarterback can we land here in Vegas. Obviously, we are not really fully complete our realistic draft classes yet, myself and Bengal 2024 and 2025. So I am going to be doing just the Scouts honor. I'm going to take whatever. We got 2 first-round QBs. We'll just might as well call him what it is right now. This guy is going to be Caleb Williams. Whatever his stats are, whatever his rating is, will remain the same. If he's a 76, whatever, that's going to be Caleb Williams' rating. I'll modify it a little bit because maybe this guy's not an athlete like Caleb Williams, but he will be Caleb Williams. We have Enrique Gaines. You might as well call this guy Drake May. And whatever his stats are, whatever his ratings are, we're going to make him into Drake May. But one of those two is going to be our guys. Be it the guy that's going top 5, be it the guy that's going in the first round. Let's see what Aiden O'Connell, old Farva, can lead this team to kind of close out this year. We have stiff competition with the 1-7 Giants. He's looking for that first overall pick. But as right now, it's just let's suck and get ourselves a franchise quarterback. We do have our contracts here, $69 million. But we are getting ready to clean shop here. We're going to have a fresh reset, get rid of some of these terrible roster decisions that have been, going back to, who's their old Mike Mayock making bad calls. You go from Mike Mayock, and I like Mike Mayock as an analyst. Go from Mike Mayock. They should have kept that guy. Remember they had that guy last year that went, I think he went to the Packers as a special teams coach. I can't remember his name. That would have been my pick for the new head coach that they got there. All right, we got Andre James. He's only 26. Give him a 3-year deal. I mean, that's a guy I can see going into the 80s. That's serviceable enough at center. Josh Jacobs, obviously, we got to pay him. I'll give him a 5-year contract right away. I need him for all 5 years of this rebuild. He's buying in. Even though I'm a little worried he might lose that X factor because our team kind of sucks ass. Bilal Nichols has a dev trade. He's not overly expensive. So if we can get him to sign on for 2 years, that's fine. We're going to let everybody else go. And I am a Marcus Peters fan, but at 30 years old, what though? But we're not going to be able to target corner in the draft. So I think even if you regress this down to an 81, that's still going to be good for a 1-year Band-Aid. But either way, we're going to have 40, probably closer to $50 million of available cap to make some moves this offseason if we don't get a terrible role in free agency. I'm very optimistic about this roster early on in this rebuild. I don't think this is going to be something where it's going to take the year 4, year 5 for us to have a competent roster. I think we'll have a quick turnaround. All right, something that we didn't even really entertain. We got Aiden O'Connell here as our starting quarterback. A little bit of a fan favorite. Obviously, I'm not totally in tapped with the Raider fan base, but it does seem like I'll say at worst, fans are excited to see what Aiden Connell can do for the next couple games. Coming out of our Week 13 bye, he hasn't been playing crazily, anything like that. He's been, 26 passing offense. He's very much been a quarterback of a 26 passing offense. Got a breakout. Okay. I don't think this would change anything as far as how I approach the draft. I still think we need to go get ourselves a quarterback. But if we could have Aiden O'Connell on the roster as a, developmental guy, star dev, obviously, even if he gets star dev, he's going to be, 64, 65. But then he can kind of be like our break glass in case of emergency. If we draft a quarterback and it's coming year 3, year 4, and we've had no playoff success, well, why don't we just let Aiden McConnell go and see what he can, maybe he's one of them guys. We win. That is our first win of the year with O'Connell. Did he get his breakout? Okay. We complete the tank here in year 1. Bottom dwellers in the West. 4 wins on the season. And, oh, wow. I hate the fact that there's a log jam for the second pick, and we have the last of the tiebreakers. Okay, makes it just a little bit harder come draft time when it comes to selecting the top quarterback available. Take a look at our stats. What did Aiden O'Connell look like to get a breakout? So he must have got, I don't even know. I want to say he must have got hot for a little bit, but we got the breakout coming out of a bye week. So it's almost like they just threw us a bone there to get him some development. But he finishes his year as a half starter, as a 65 star dev. And, it'd be kind of foolish to hitch our wagon to Aiden O'Connell at 25. Well, he's not even, he's an old rookie. It's not even like we're getting a guy. If he was 21, I'd say, hey, maybe we'll give him a full year as a start. But 25, man. You're going to be near the end of this rebuild. It's going to be hard for you to get up any overall points, let alone, reasonable ones. So, I think he'll be a fun backup, fun guy to have on the roster. We'll just leave it at that. Josh Jacobs was solid. Definitely not the usual Josh Jacobs sim numbers I expect. Usually he's sims like a top 5 running back. Devontae Adams did go over 1,000 yards, which is nice. Doesn't look like he's hitting that this year in real life. I say there's a sad Devontae Adams fantasy owner in the C4 Patreon League, which I am terrible in right now, but it's all about how you finish in fantasy football. Michael Mayer, rookie season, 50 catches, 500 yards. Not brutal. Defensively, Divine Diablo. He's a guy that kind of hoping production would get him off a normal dev up to a star, so I'm optimistic about that. 152 tackles, 2 TFL, second half, 2 picks. Spillane, also decent season. These guys were on the field a whole lot. 16 TFLs, 9.5 sacks for Max Crosby. Probably the bottom of where you'd want to see his floor in terms of sin numbers. 3 picks, Marcus Epps leads the team. Now, we're going to take a look. Yearly the awards, come on. We're not going to have anybody, I don't think. Maybe rookie, maybe not. I don't know. I do not think it's going to look particularly well for any Raiders. We got Michael Mayer, number 10 in the Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. And defensively, Tyree Wilson and Jacorian Bennett both making the top 5. But other than that, unless it's like special teams, it's just a burn year, man. Just an absolute burn year. But we got the McDaniels era over, which is probably the biggest thing the Raiders could do as a franchise to start figuring it out. We got Lincoln Riley as our new head coach. Now let's go into the offseason with a decent amount of salary cap and find our quarterback in the draft. At the end of the year, look at that Super Bowl, huh? Cowboys, Bills, 9-3. That's how I feel every time I see Dallas make the Super Bowl. And that's coming from a Madden fan. If I wasn't even an Eagles fan, just sick and tired of seeing them there all the time. But looking at our squad as we close out the season, Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs both keep their X factors, which is nice. We have the dev trade on Aiden O'Connell, which definitely will go down as one of our weirdest dev trade breakout scenarios, let alone we achieved it, that I've seen so far in Madden 24. On the defensive side, this is where we need to see a little bit of development and growth. We got Spillane and Diablo, our 2 starting linebackers, going up dev trade. I think Epps also, I think he was on a normal dev, up to a star. Cool. All right, we're also going to handle some business here with our roster. We're going to get rid of the stink of Josh McDaniels. Up first is getting almost $30 million by getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. Honestly, not a lot of bad contracts. We'll get rid of Braden Faison, however you pronounce it. You're gone. Best of luck at Home Depot. I thought there was going to be a lot more terrible contracts on this Raiders squad. Really, it's just Jimmy G. Here's where things get a little tough because we are kind of putting our eggs in the basket of the 2 quarterbacks here in the draft. One of them clearly looks like the guy that I want, Brian Sands. Even though it's not top 5 true talent, 3 A's and a B, 6'2", 230 with elite throw power. That is the quarterback that I want. But he's also probably going pretty high. The most recent mock draft, things can change. I think the third one, the last one we have, the most updated. Man, we can get it without trading. That would be S tier. I think that's going to change. But even if it just slightly changed, I'm going to be highly, highly doubtful that he is going to magically go from 6 all the way up to like 1 or 2, which would be a pain in the ass to trade up for. So I think we should be able to get our Caleb Williams guy. So when he's going into free agency, one was the offensive line, and of course, just trash. Like, it's this you might as well call this Wednesday because it's garbage day for me. There's absolutely nothing. Again, the only guy that looks interesting is Ruiz, and I don't know. Didn't the Saints extend him, give him a new contract? Like, unless I'm tripping balls, I've been like withholding myself from making that move because I'm pretty sure he's on the Saints. Our other need would be getting a D tackle. It's like, okay, you're looking for a guy that's about 29, 30, got about 400,000 kilometers on. Like, that's what we're looking for right now. We are going to the shadiest, pretty much junkyard type used car salesman of free agency right now. And it is absolutely garbage. Josh Allen, don't need him. This is brutal, man. Fix free agency. For the love of God, fix it. Make it fun. It's garbage every year. And I get, like, a little bit of a niche, right? Most people that play this game don't just burn through seasons, right? You play and you go through a year by year, and you're not seeing the sheer amount of terrible free agents. You might only get through 2 or 3 free agencies your whole time playing Madden 24. But come on, there's got to be enough people that play it like me that just kind of rebuild teams over and over again. At least enough of demand to demand that we fucking figure it out here a little bit. We got Jeremy Chin. I like Jeremy Chin. He's really the only guy that even has remote upside on the entire defense. So I'm going to see if we can get him. I don't know how I'm going to utilize him either. We might want to move him to safety. Bye-bye Marcus Epps. We might want to keep him as like a slot corner. We'll figure it out. But hey, here we go. We got a player. Let's go to the draft. So this is a look at mock draft 5. This is almost certainly the order that things are going to go. And the quarterback is going to fall into our lap at 5, which is great. So we are not going to have to sell the farm to get Caleb Williams. All right, so we're here at the draft. Clearly, we want to go quarterback in the first round. I gotta make. There's 2 sleepers that I have found that we gotta get. One is an Al Davis pick, and that is this guy, Alex Kaufman. He has A, deep route running, B, release, B, catch of traffic, 6'1" with 4.24 speed. That is an Al Davis selection. I would love to bring him in because probably gonna have to get rid of Hunter Renfrow and or Jacoby Myers. One of those guys is gonna get too expensive at some point. I think having a nice guy in the pipeline is fine. But also, we have the greatest center player I've ever seen in a draft class. 4 A's, Earl Jowers out of Oklahoma State. Okay, maybe the combine, if he had a couple more elites, would make him the greatest. But, like, I need to get this guy. I don't even need a center. I can take Andre James, maybe kick him to one of the guard spots. Kick this guy to one of the guard spots. But I got to get that quarterback, and I got to get this guy. And for the center, I'm looking at, he's not projected to go in the first round in this last mock draft. So I will trade up a couple spots in the second round to get the first pick in the second round to get that freaking center. Because I don't even... That guy, he's going to be like a 78 superstar minimum. Minimum, I would think. But up first, pick 5 in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. The Vegas Raiders select Brian Sands, quarterback, UCLA, who's going to be a quarterback out of USC before July. Not bad at all. 94 throw power, pretty good athlete. I don't think we're going to have to do a whole lot of mods to make him into Caleb. So I was able to trade up a couple spots here with the Chicago Bears for the first pick in the second round. I send them our second round pick, which is pick 5. Hunter Renfrow, they need wide receiver help. And I don't want to have that many 7th round picks. So we were able to make the move. Now by making this move, I also better be able to grab that speedy wide receiver in the 3rd round. That's 100% the reason why I did this. But we were able to come up here into the first pick to get what is the greatest center prospect I think I've ever seen in a generated draft class, Earl Jowers. Hidden dev, 93 straight. This is like, I don't know. Guess what you think his rating is going to be. I'm thinking, obviously we're going to have to wait and see on the dev trade. I'm thinking he's going to be a superstar dev, and I'm saying 78, which I don't think I've ever seen a center over 76. The third round pick, can we complete the trifecta and get all three of my targets? And he's still here. Beautiful. Third round, Alex Kaufman, 424. Welcome to the Raiders. Shout out Al Davis, White Lightning. Let's go. The last pick on my board here from our scout, and we have Garrison Dunbar. Undersized a little bit. More of a 3-4 DN, but he had A finesse move, A tackle, C block shed, pretty good letter grades to go along with elite speed. Can we make it, I was going to say, can we make it 4 hidden devs? I still think this guy here has a shot to be, 72, 73 maybe. I had to put the shades on to protect my eyes from what we're about to witness on this draft class. Again, predictions in for the center, who I think, obviously the predictions for the freaking quarterback. Oh, it's 80! An 80 overall center. And he was going in the second round. Earl Jowers, all-timer, right there. That's sick. And then Kaufman, the wide receiver speedster, the Al Davis selection, 76. Hidden dev. The D tackle, 72. Last pick just kind of grabbed a guy we got absolutely finessed by the 91 acceleration. Not that great of a pick. But the man of the hour, we have Brian Sands here, who's about to become Caleb Williams. This is, and I've talked about this before, until the realistic rebuild classes are ready. This is how we used to do it before custom draft classes were a thing, but we did realistic rebuilds. I would draft a player. So we have Brian Sands, 76 overall. That is what I can use to make Caleb Williams. I can recreate, I can modify all the stats, but he has to stay whatever that dev trade is and a 76 overall. And if you think I was cheesing, if I changed his dev trade, say if he's a star and I wanted to make him a superstar in X Factor, he would lose the hidden dev trade and it would just show that I edited it. We're not going to do that. So hopefully it's something good. Hopefully it's not a star, because that would actually look a little unrealistic. I don't think there's any way Caleb Williams has a star dev, but we'll take it for what it is. Let's body morph this human being and make him someone that he's not. Someone better. Someone greater. It needs to be said, man, there is this might be the closest face to Caleb. Plus, they're not loading for some reason, so I can't even see you don't even need to see the previews. Trust me, I've been working on the custom draft classes. They don't even line up half the time. But my God, man, some of these faces are I don't know. That could be, Caleb Williams has a little bit of facial hair, though. They don't a lot of dudes got that hairstyle, the puffy, I don't know. I don't want to, obviously I'm out of touch. I don't even really have hair. But that, whatever that hair is, it's not like a fro, it's like a small fro, but it's not a fro. But there's none of those in this game. I'm trying to, when I'm making my custom draft class, I'm trying to at least make the first round guys, that kind of. But I don't know, man. Some of the, and then you for every, then you get stuff like this, Elf. You got 80 faces that look like they're 40-year-old men. Come on, let's get a little TLC here. All right, we modified the stats. We got ourselves Caleb Williams, still a 76 overall. We pretty much just had to dump the points into Scrambler, and he's not even a true dual threat. I think it's not necessarily his game. I think he's kind of like Jalen Hurts in regards to yeah, he can scramble, but he's not a scramble first quarterback. So that's really all we bumped up was his speed, acceleration, break, sack, throw on the run a little bit, but still kept everything as a 76 overall. And I did not see the dev trade. I probably should just have peeked it, and then I would know to ruin the surprise a little bit. But I want to be as surprised as you are. Hopefully, it's a red dev trade. Here's a look at our squad going into year 2 of this rebuild, year 1 of the Caleb Williams Lincoln Riley era. And really the big changes is from the draft class is Kaufman, our third round pick, is going to start at outside on the wide receiver spot. We're going to have him and Devontae on the outside with Jacoby Myers in the slot. Jowers is going to start at center. We kicked Andre James to right guard. Still a little weak at right tackle. We got Thayer Munford, formerly of Ohio State, at right tackle. But I do think we get a right tackle, and I think this is going to be a lock-in offense to go on, develop, and get to a Super Bowl in year 5. On the defensive side, we did add Jeremy Chin in free agency. He is going to play at corner, likely in the slot. Hopefully for big things here out of Tyree Wilson. Dunbar, our 4th-round pick, gets a start at defensive tackle. A little, we only get to run 2 linebackers, so that's good for our scheme, but we are technically not 3 deep at the linebacker spot, which is maybe something to, a luxury pick. If a linebacker falls to us, we'll make that selection. But I'm confident in Spillane and Diablo, especially coming off of both dev trait upgradable seasons in year 1 of this rebuild. But this defense still runs through Max Crosby. We'll love to see him get double-digit sacks here in year 2. So coming off a Week 4 victory, 49-28 over the Saints. We just kicked the shit out of Derek Carr. We talked about not seeing big sim numbers out of Josh Jacobs in year 1. But if he keeps playing like this, we're going to see, you know, almost 250 yards from scrimmage. 5 tuds. Good God. A little bit of my point of year 2. We're 5-2. We're tied for first in the division, which is great. Kind of where we could only imagine we'd be year 1 of this era. But we failed our first big test of the season, which is the Chiefs. Anytime you have that measuring stick twice a year, it really gives you an idea where your squad is at. So, a little bit of a bummer. We'll change up our scouting focus here a little bit. I do want to try and bring in a defensive tackle. So we'll get off QB and we'll just kind of peruse the D tackle market, see if we can find someone, because we probably need 2 D tackles sooner than later. Kind of sucks. It's not a strength of the draft class. Kind of is what it is. We also will go through some contracts and then we'll see that breakout and see if we can hit it. We have Nate Hobbs up first. Solid corner, 25 years old. Let's get him locked and loaded. I can see his ceiling being 85, 86. We have Moreg, another really nice player. Let's get him locked in for the remainder of this rebuild. 3-year, $21 million. Diablo, serviceable linebacker. I think, you know, you're looking at what his ceiling would be. I could see like 83, 84, good enough to be a starter on a Super Bowl caliber team. Marcus Epps, this is where it gets a little interesting because I do think we could just kick Jeremy Chin back to safety and then take advantage of what is generally a pretty weak free agency role, because I just feel like you never get big-time safeties. So we move Jeremy Chin back there, and we make it taking advantage of what is usually a weak free agency role, but a strong draft role, which is corner. So we can take Jeremy Chin, who's starting as corner for us, move him to safety, and then get a corner, find a stud in the draft, which is just higher probability going down that route. So thank you, Epps. Thank you, Spillane. We're going to look elsewhere. And lastly, we got the breakout wide receiver, and it is, I couldn't imagine. I'm going to guess Michael Mayer? Alex Kopp, it's the rookie. The rookie deep threat, the Al Davis pick, looking to become, I think that would be superstar dev. So that means he's just a star dev, which is fine. He's a 3rd-round pick. We go 28-17 over the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, that's a tough dub trade to get, on top of the fact that we just got Devontae Adams. He's just never going to get the amount of targets, the amount of looks, at least in the sim, as long as Devontae Adams is clearly our wide receiver 1. Now we're coming out with our bye, and ahead of Week 11, we have a breakout for our quarterback. But I think we can now take a peek at the dev trait of our 3 hidden dev players. Up first, Jowers, the setter superstar. Caleb Williams, not the X factor that we're hoping for. I will still take a superstar dev because it's a lot better than a star. And then Kaufman with a star. So 2 superstars and a star from our first draft class. Huge. And on top of that, chasing the X factor for Caleb Williams. Well, we have a perfect opportunity ahead of our matchup here, Week 11 against the Cleveland Browns, as we get a breakout scenario. The Browns defense, very difficult. One of the toughest defenses in the entirety of the AFC. So we got our work cut out for us. But Lincoln Riley knows how to put up points. Caleb Williams knows how to put up points. And I wouldn't put it past him. Have a chance here to get a red boy dev trait against the 3-7 Cleveland Browns. We need Devontae Adams to get open all the time. That's not a bad performance. 28-14 over a tough defense, but I highly doubt that 28 is 4 passing tutties for Caleb Williams. And unfortunately, we just got the dub. And maybe that's just what Caleb Williams is going to be. He's got to get his dev trait the old traditional way by winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. We'll say in our second run-in with the Chiefs, we get the dub. We split the series. We go to 9-3. It sucks that the Chiefs, behind the webcam, they have 8 wins. The Chargers have 9 wins, so like just the goddamn West is a bloodbath. But we defeat the Chiefs, and we get a Player of the Week performance from the vet, Marcus Peters, who picks off the great Patrick Mahomes 2 times. We might make the playoffs this year. We could be the Cinderella team. Another big-time potential upgrade for the Raiders. Diablo, Week 15, gets a Defensive Player of the Week, 8 tackles, an interception, and a forced fumble in a victory over the New England Patriots, which set up a Week 16 divisional game against the Broncos, where I'm assuming he gets himself a breakout here. And if we can get Devon Diablo up to a superstar, That will be gigantic for the anchor of this defense, the anchor of this front seven. Where's the green dot? Is a very important piece of this defense, and he's at that age too. If we get that superstar dev now, next year is going to be huge for his development. Might get an extra overall point or two. We defeat the Broncos 42-32 to go to 11-4, which is just in this ridiculous division second. No dev though, that's a bummer. It only took year one of the Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley era to catch on in the NFL and to make the playoffs. We come second in the division, and we get that'd be an epic game. Lincoln Riley, whatever his offense, it would be good in the NFL, I assume. Against Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins, who also have just a terrifyingly good offense. Look at Caleb Williams, third in yards, almost top 5 in tutties. You could not ask for a lot much more out of the rookie quarterback. 4,300 yards, 34 touchdowns to 8 picks. That is outstanding for Caleb Williams. We got 1,500 yards, 21 tutties for Josh Jacobs. Even Caleb Williams got some scrambling numbers on top of it. We got 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns with Davante Adams. The rookie Alex Kaufman, 9-5. Mayer was solid. Myers, good role player, which is exactly what his role needs to be on this offense. Defensively, Diablo, 128 tackles, 6 TFLs, 4 picks, over 100 tackles for both Hobbs and Spillane. We got 13.5 sacks. If I had to complain, my one complaint would be just, Tyree Wilson. I would like to see maybe a nice two-headed pass rush attack. Right now, 4.5 on 14 TFLs. Not brutal, but also not ideal. So if we can get Wilson up there to 8, 9, 10 sacks, Crosby continues to be double digits. This is firing on all cylinders, I think, for this Raiders squad. MVP goes to Lamar Jackson with Caleb Williams in his rookie campaign coming in at 7. We had Davante Adams top 5 for Offensive Player of the Year. Josh Jacobs at 2. It's just pretty disgusting, man. We are balling. Max Crosby 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Offensive Rookie goes to Caleb Williams. Hopefully that is enough of a push, especially with his stats, to get him off that superstar up to an X Factor. Kaufman came top 3. I would love to see a little bit of love there for our center as well. Caleb Williams top 5 for quarterbacks in the AFC. Josh Jacobs is running back of the year. Davante Adams is wide receiver of the year. Both these guys are X Factors, but they're getting up there in age, especially Davante Adams. So this might be a spot where Davante Adams naturally would just regress because he's getting older, and maybe for how well he played, it would keep him at an X Factor for at least another season. Max Crosby top 3 for D linemen. I definitely would have thought, even though they classify, edge rushers and linebackers, I would have seen Diablo. I thought he had a really nice season there for a DB. Shout out Marcus Peters, the veteran, top 10. Congrats. Same with Nate Hobbs. Well, there's no real easy way to approach the Dolphins. They are very good. Now, I don't think the Dolphins are really that overpowered in the Madden sim, but they look pretty good. Top 10 offense, top 5 defense. Would be cool. I don't have expectations going on with the Super Bowl. This is year 2 of this rebuild, but really year 1 of the Caleb Williams era. So I will take just a win, and that is what we get to set up a matchup against the West champion 14-3 Chargers. 35-24. We're not even getting players of the week off of that, though. That's a little surprising. That's a big time performance. I mean, and then you get the Chiefs put up 49, so that's probably what we're competing against here. But just clean game from Caleb Williams. Tua didn't play bad either, but he did have a turnover. And, we ran the ball with 3 rushing tutties. Davante Adams was uncoverable. Absolutely just spanked Jalen Ramsey. Nate Hobbs with a pick. Max Crosby with a sack. So our big players that we have to rely on stepped up to the plate as 3 teams from the AFC West have an opportunity to feature in the AFC Championship game. You only assume that the Chiefs are going to win their matchup. So let's see if we can handle business here against the Chargers. Tough assignment. Justin Herbert's playing very good football right now. We are 1 win away with a rookie freaking quarterback of featuring in the Super Bowl. In a game where Max Crosby gets Defensive Player of the Week, 7 tackles, 2 sacks. And it comes down to us, Caleb Williams, against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who come in with a top 3 offense, top 3 defense. We have we'll upgrade our players. Maybe that will give us the little boost that we need to take them down and complete the Cinderella run. I'll tell you right now, we get a Super Bowl here year 1. This might be one of my favorite teams yet. I mean, I'm going to talk as we probably inevitably lose. But, the Raiders are not a bad... we're in the fucking Super Bowl. We're in the Super Bowl, and we have $92 million of salary cap. We are not supposed to be here. And Caleb Williams gets Offensive Player of the Week with a just solid performance. 255 yards, 3 total touchdowns, 2 through the air, 1 on the ground. And we are in the Super Bowl, year 2 with the Raiders. And my point being that if the Raiders can find a way, just hypothetically speaking, as we'll spend our point here for our superstar freaking center, Earl Jowers, best center prospect of all time in Madden 24. We got Caleb Williams playing like, well, obviously we got the boost and stuff, but a base 83 overall. Did he get, would we have his depth trait right now? We got a sim a week to see if he'd go up or down one. But point being, you know, they got pieces. You have Devontae Adams, who is still very much, at least talent-wise, production's fallen off a goddamn cliff this year. But you have Devontae Adams, who still at least claimed to be maybe the best wide receiver, most talented wide receiver in the NFL. I definitely think he's up there with Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase. You have Colton Miller, who's a 90 overall left tackle, which is a very important position in real life, very important position here in Madden. You have Michael Mayer, who's one of the best young tight ends in the league. You have Josh Jacobs, who's one of the best running backs in the league. You got Jacoby Myers, who's a 1,000-yard capable wide receiver. You have the defense that has an S-tier edge rusher, which is really like the anchor piece that you want to get on a defense. You have Tyree Wilson, who's a first-round, legitimate first-round edge. Maybe they overdrafted him a little bit, especially coming off his injury at Texas Tech. But in terms of athletic ability, in terms of upside, he's a first-round, legitimate edge rusher every day of the year. You have Nate Hobbs, who's a serviceable corner 2, fringe corner 1. You have Diablo, who's like, you know, capable starting line. Like, there's pieces in place here that if this Raiders team in real life can get a Caleb Williams, can get a clear-cut, day one, fresh out the box, doesn't need a whole lot of developing, franchise quarterback prospect, be it, honestly, Caleb Williams or Drake May. And given, if you ask me on a specific day, I might have Drake May as my quarterback 1 in this upcoming draft. I really do think for both those quarterbacks, we're not going to open up that discussion right now because we got to get ready for a freaking Super Bowl in year 2. But I legitimately think there's going to be some teams that aren't going to like the Kyler Murray aspects of Caleb Williams' game, the off-script ability, and they're going to say, like, Drake May is more quarterback-friendly to our team. He's going to be exactly, like, it's a stylistic thing. I think both Drake May and Caleb Williams are first-round, top 10, at worst, quarterback prospects any year. But if I think the Raiders get one of those guys, you get a competent head coach, the pieces are in place. This is not a team that is voided of talent. They have talent in place. As we now need to celebrate Caleb Williams for getting an X factor in his first year. We also get a nice +1 throw power there, bringing him out to 95. Now, I am going to take off Truz. Truz is not an ability that I think Caleb Williams should get. I don't know what I would say, though. Watch a lot of Caleb Williams. Brick wall, he does that sometimes. And then there's no maximum throw distance. I mean, he does have a good arm, but I wouldn't say he has like an S+ tier arm. I mean, both these are clearly the two best abilities. I'm going to give him Gambit, but that is huge. We get an X factor. I mean, now this is looking at our dev traits here. No one else went up dev trait on the offensive side of the ball, but anytime your quarterback is the only guy, you're not going to be too complaining about it. Diablo up to a superstar. Murray Burney, I think that was just because he's a normal dev player playing. I don't know why Madden still just awards these guys free dev traits, but Florida Gator bias, I will take that for Burney. No other dev traits, up or down. I was surprised, man. I thought Marcus Peters, maybe it's just because of an age thing, thought he played well enough to potentially go up a dev trait. But again, yeah, I think the plan this offseason is we're going to move Jeremy Chin back to strong safety. We'll let Epps hit the open market, and then we'll go pretty hard here looking for a corner and or right tackle in the upcoming draft. But before we can even focus on that, even though we're celebrating Caleb Williams earning a superstar in his rookie season and goddamn making the Super Bowl in the Battle of California, we have a chance to win a freaking Super Bowl here, fellas, against a very good Niners team. 91s across the board. Number 1 offense overall in the NFL. Almost a top 5 defense. Can we complete the Cinderella story? This would be maybe in terms of, like, I don't want to say necessarily ahead of schedule because we just got ourselves an X Factor fucking quarterback. But this would be something. A year 2 Super Bowl win for the goddamn Raiders. This reminds me of what we had last year, and I think it states that I can remember this. I have a terrible memory, but I still remember last year we won a Super Bowl. Might have been year 1 or year 2 with the Vikings with Kirk Cousins, and I was like, What the hell is this? This is a chance to be that. Now, we are going in, sit in a front row, play the moment. I'm going to give myself 3 opportunities to potentially hop in. And I have gone down the rabbit hole enough, especially from the PC side of things, because there's like the Sabo mod, which if you're not on PC, you don't know what that is, but it's just basically anything you hate about the game, he pretty much makes it better. I think eventually I am going to be moving and playing a little bit more on PC. Once some mods come out, we'll do some mod content. But basically, throughout these mods, you can kind of see what people tweak and what they're able to tweak. And it's pretty clear that, like, there's a different sim. Like, what we're about to sim right now is 100% different than if I just, like, simmed a week. So, like, maybe we screwed this. Because maybe with our team going on the hot streak, if I just would have not hopped front row here and we just simmed from the main menus, maybe we would have had a shot to win. Because now we are going into an entirely different super sim, which we've seen firsthand time and time again. Oh, the classic, like, oh, there's 30 seconds left. They have no timeouts. Are they going to score a touchdown to tie it? Oh, look, they did. So we are in just a completely different animal here for this sim. And look, there's the, we're just getting fucking, the doors broke off here. 21-10. They have scored a touchdown every single drive. So I suppose I'll cash in one of my 3 chances here to see if we can get a touchdown. Why is the clock rolling? Why didn't we? All right, we'll get a tutty right there to Devontae Adams. Wide open as 0's on the clock. As we go into the second half, down 11. Come on. Again, we're ahead of schedule. Did not have any great expectations that we were going to win this matchup. But now, just knowing, like, if I just would have simmed weak. If I just would have backed out and simmed it without coming into this goddamn, would I have won the Super Bowl? You never know. But ahead of schedule, the fact that we got here year 2 makes me confident years 3, 4, and 5 of this rebuild, we will be back at least one more time with a better roster. Again, we have $100 million of salary cap worth of talent that we could add to this team to put us over the edge to beat a team like the Niners. But, you know, we went up against the very good Brock Purdy, who is, if you ask any Niner fan before 3 weeks ago, was one of the best quarterbacks of the NFL. We'll be back. We'll remember this. We'll let this affect my team mentally so that it just keeps building in their heads, and this is all we can focus on. And we're going to be a one-track mindset to win a Super Bowl over the next 3 years. And we're going to remember this moment to never feel like this again. All right, well, I always complain that free agency sucks, and I will give this free agency a little bit of credit because there are some names that aren't always there. We got Greg Newsome. We're going to throw a bid on him. Very competitive bid. We're also going to look at JOK, and we're actually not paying ridiculous edge money. It's like a 4-year, $50-some million, which is like in the ballpark of what you would pay like a really good off-ball linebacker in his prime. But like there's Nick Chubb, there's Brandon Ayuk, an X-Factor wide receiver hitting the open market. We have the typical veterans, but like they're sprinkling in a couple players here. Like this is fine. This is a fine free agency class. Like that's my nitpick is like in real life, there's usually, we'll say 3 to 5 guys like this. Where like they're good players that just couldn't come to contract extension with their team and just wanted to leave. And like more often than not, you don't get those guys that fall through the cracks. Like JOK, Greg Newsome, like on the right side of third, you got Ayuk. That's a big one. Like they give me that. Just give me a couple hook, line, and sinker type players every single year. That's all I'm asking for. But we did great business here. We got JOK, who's going to play at linebacker with Divine Diablo, who's a superstar now. We got Greg Newsome, who's going to take Jeremy Chin and or Marcus Peters, or whatever you want to cut it spot at corner. And we're going to move Jeremy Chin back to strong safety, where he went from an 82 corner to an 84 strong safety. We have done great business, which means we can now go in the draft looking for a right tackle and or defensive tackle. Oh, no, that's unbelievable. There was my pick. Hoskins, a guy who's like a 6'6 guard that I wanted to move to tackle. Okay. That's an absolute bummer. That was my right tackle. Do have Cam Sermon here. AAB. Don't know what that pass block is. Could defecto there for sure. Or we have at D tackle, we got LaMarcus Benson. I think the pick for me, though, is going to be see if I can wait for this gigantic nose tackle. Nose tackle, safe pick, especially nose tackle with those grades. Like I should be able to reach for him in the second round. and get him there. So that's our D tackle. So I think we just go with the top lineman available, which looks like it could be Cam Sermon, 6'6", 313. Pretty shit bench press reps, but we'll pull the trigger anyways, and we roll a dev trait. And he's likely going to at least be better than Thayer Munford, who's our current starting right tackle, who's what, a 72 normal? The second round, our gigantic nose tackle. Even though we don't even really need one, we're going to get him here. Jay Washington, what up? Hidden dev, 96 strength. Easiest pick you can make. Not about all. Looking at our draft recap, getting a 72 running back, 73 linebacker here. Will Beal. Anytime you can get those speedsters, man. Hidden dev at Iowa State, 91 speed, 91 acceleration. Just gives us that little bit of extra depth, and it gives us 3 deep at that linebacker spot across the board, especially with the addition of JOK in free agency. Jay Washington, 75 hidden dev. Cam Sermon, 72 hidden dev. All in all, very happy with back-to-back really stellar draft classes here for the Raiders. All right, we're about the midway point. We get a massive victory, Week 8 over the Chiefs, who at that point were undefeated. So we're at least making it a little bit competitive at the top of the AFC West. The Chiefs fall to 7-1. We bump up to 5-3 in a week where we got JOK, the big fish that we landed in free agency. 2 picks on Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, that'll probably more often than not, 99% of the time, get you player of the week. Let's look at some contracts here. What do we got? We got Jacoby Myers. We got Colton Miller. We'll pay Colton Miller first because he is easily our left tackle of this rebuild. Jacoby Myers, interesting. He's 28. We're in year 3, year 4. He's going to be 30 by the end of this rebuild. I don't expect him to really regress too much. He's a fine, receiver in his own right for, that role that he's going to play. We have Dylan Parham on the offensive line. I think, again, that's a ceiling. Where's he going to be year 5? Probably 82, 83. That is more than good enough of a left guard, so we'll definitely come back to the table for his contract. We have our special teamers. I mean, we might as well just give them both 2-year deals to have them here for the full rebuild. I don't really know when, if, where, what. I should actually ask the people that mod this game, do special teams mean anything in the sim? Does it have any... I don't know. I feel like probably not. I feel like if you have a really good special teams unit, it's not ever going to be well, that was the reason why you won this game. I don't know. Maybe. We'll come back to the table for Dylan Parham, and obviously we'll pick up the 5th-year option of Tyree Wilson. Everyone else, thank you for your service. I was just spending some points here. We got a tough loss against the Chargers. A little bit bummed out that we couldn't capitalize on the momentum from beating the Chiefs the week before. But then when I was spending our upgrades, I was like, it's kind of a bummer. And then just out of nowhere, we drafted an X-Factor D tackle, nose tackle, Jay Washington. Let's go. We haven't had a draft rebuild like this in a very long time. This is a chance to be something special. But it won't matter if we don't end up winning a Super Bowl. But the team building aspect, we are building an S-tier roster. Year 3 comes to a close with, again, the West. I usually don't see the West being this good. The bottom team there, it's cut off again with the webcam. The Chargers 9 wins. Doesn't feel like the Chiefs have to run the gauntlet more often than not. But we come second place again, 11-6 in the division. An opportunity to go on a little bit of a run here. But this is very much going to be a team that's... I'm glad that they're playing well now, but we're going to be such a good roster years 4 and 5 that we're kind of playing with house money these early years. Any swing that we get to try to go on and win a Super Bowl. Obviously made the Super Bowl last year, so we should have the expectations that we can hit that again. 4,100 yards, 38 tuds for Caleb Williams. Josh Jacobs, monster. Devontae, monster. Alex Kaufman, our Al Davis selection of the rebuild, crushing it. 2 guys going over 1,000 yards. Myers continues to be a great role player. Michael Mayer, 600 yards, 9 tutties. Big time numbers. Defensively, JOK, worth the price that we paid to steal him away from the Browns in free agency. 141 tackles, 4 TFLs, 5 picks on the year. Sacks fell off a cliff, though. That's shocking. Max Crosby's simmed well. 9.5 sacks year 1, double 13.5 last year, 5 kind of out of nowhere. Interception numbers aren't bad. Why did our pass rush disappear? I don't know. Mahomes wins the MVP. Caleb Williams coming in at number 6. Looking for some Raiders. Josh Jacobs is running back of the year. And that is our lone award. So just weird. Just a little bit weird. Don't know why Max Crosby kind of fell off a cliff there. Maybe that's why, our record didn't really go forward because we had a regression on our pass rush. But we continue to find ways to win as we knock out the Bills 28-11 with Max Crosby. Hey, stepping up. Here's me chirping him a little bit with 2 sack performance, taking down Josh Allen. moving on to the next round where we take on the Ravens, who we beat in the championship game last year. Both teams 11-6. A chance to go to the AFC Championship game. Ooh, close defeat, 24-21. Lamar Jackson gets the better. At least it was competitive. At least it was close. At least we don't have to go on and lose to the Chiefs inevitably. Just disgustingly low passing yards for both quarterbacks. That's weird. Josh Jacobs crushed it. Obviously just not much going. In terms of passing offense, Will Beal, the depth linebacker, got an interception. Damn. All right, back to the drawing board for year 4. Looking at depth traits on the offensive side, no depth traits up or down, which made me a little surprised that Kaufman might have had a shot going over 1,000 yards to go up depth trait, but it is what it is. And Sermon, our first-round pick, just popped as a star dev, which was a little bit of expectation. Max Crosby lost his X-Factor with a disappointing season, but I suppose with the drafted nose tackle with the X-Factor, you know, we didn't, at least we still keep the one X-Factor on the defense. And hopefully Max Crosby bounce back next year and can get back his X-Factor. Nate Hodge makes the jump from star up to a superstar. We did lose the superstar on Diablo, unfortunately, but generally speaking, not brutal regression. Pretty stingy free agency, kind of going through all the positions here. So I think for us, I mean, we might as well just swing for the top rated. It's Joe Tooney. We got Andre James at guard, who's normal dev, kind of reached the ceiling, doesn't even matter. It was a luxury type signing if we could have got him, because I feel okay with our offensive line, but he decided to go to Detroit for some reason. That's embarrassing. All right, what's our big need going? I don't even really know what our big need would be. Like, technically, I guess having the 2 normal dev guards there, if we could get a hidden dev, might look better, but in reality, an 81 and 80 guard, more than serviceable enough, especially with the rest of the offensive line. You know, D-tackle 2 could look at maybe an upgrade over Ja'Cory and Bennett at corner. But for the most part, I mean, we are kind of like in a BPA. But let's go see what they got at D-tackle and corner. Usually 2 positions. I would make the argument the 2 easiest positions to find good players late in the first round. It's not like we're looking for an edge rusher or a wide receiver. Let's see what we got. You always got to start on the 3-4 DNs because, look at that, man. Connor Morgan. A-tackle, B. What the fuck? Man, this guy is a good combine. It's actually not bad. I don't know where I'd use that guy. That's a weird build. I'll leave it at that. Those are you know, undeniable letter grades. We have D'Angelo Dorsett, who I suppose would compare well to our nose tackle. A little bit undersized, but could give us some pass rush juice. Elite jumping, great acceleration. I mean, really good combine for a D tackle, but he's like severely undersized, kind of like the dude that the Bucks just drafted, Kalijah Cansey. All right, what do we got at corner? Do we have any cheesy corners here? Double A, that's late. I mean, this guy's probably the best. Terry Batch, 6 feet tall, B-catching, A-press. Weird that he has press and zone, not press and man. Elite jumping, not particularly, ugh. I don't know, man. I'm not in love with this draft class. I'm not in love with where we're at. I mean, especially there's only a pound difference between Dorsett. We'll go Connor Morgan. I mean, with that 92 strength, man, look how he's built. Got that weird body shape. We might be able to slide him into D tackle. And we end up with a pretty solid draft, all things considered here, with Connor Morgan, 75. Now, we are going to move him inside the D tackle. That's where we might see a little. I don't know if his rating's going to go up or down. D end of D tackle has mixed bag results. So it's a 75 up to a 77. Let's go. Second round here, we got Gaines, who we drafted strictly off of his letter grades. Wasn't a ridiculous athlete. Wasn't a bad athlete. 84 speed, 86 acceleration. But he had A tackle, A pursuit. It was kind of just a safe pick, depth pick there. Because Divine Diablo he's one of the older players on this defense. He's not even that old. He's like 28, 29. But he's at his ceiling, probably for his development. We got Brandon Carter. He had just went from the athletics, A agility, 97 agility, ridiculous agility, 75 catching. More of an athlete than up, but still 75 slot. Add some competition there with Ja'Cory and Bennett for that third corner spot. Just, again, crushing the drafts here at the Raiders rebuild as we go into year 4. All right, going into year 4. Offense remains the same. No turnover. We're going to rock and roll with these guys. I mean, unless we get to like a year 5 where there's like 100% the guy that we need to sign to take this team over the top, which I don't really know like what the, I mean, if we get like a Tyreek Hill or something crazy like that at wide receiver, we could just throw some money at that. Or, you know, maybe a big fish on the offensive line. But the offense looks great. On the defense, we're going to have Morgan, First round pick, slide in. He's got to start a D tackle. Carter, our value pick found in the draft, day 3, is going to get the start at corner. But for the most part, the same guys running it back again. This is a double-digit win team. I'd love to win our first divisional title, but ultimately it's about getting back to the Super Bowl here in year 4. Ooh, 6-1. Twice the wins of anyone else in the division here for Vegas. You love seeing that. We got Max Crosby, even though he lost his X Factor, still premier. We'll get him on a 2-year deal. $95 million remaining. We got Michael Mayer. We're going to give him a player-friendly 5-year, $67 million contract. Devontae Adams, at one point, the most unhappy player in the NFL. Very happy with how things have turned around here in Las Vegas. Now, we do have a lot of depth. You know, starter there in Andre James, potentially bouncing. And I think we just kind of rock and roll with the cash that we got, and we'll spend it accordingly in our final offseason. Also just realized, double duty here on Saturday, got the Gators Arkansas game. It might be like one of those things you ever see like on TikTok where like someone will put like picture-in-picture of like a UFC stream. If anyone wants to watch, it's Gators Arkansas. Gators were down 14-zip. I live bet the Gators, and I'm hoping to God they can come back. It's 14-14 right now, but you might be able, through parts of this video, to illegally watch the Gators Arkansas matchup in the reflection, because I got a double dip. Sometimes I'll maybe be professional, right? So you guys don't see the glare. I need to watch my Gators. Need to watch them. Come on, baby. KJ Jefferson, though, I'll tell you right now. Whew, that is the strongest quarterback since Jalen Hurts. Like, literally a powerhouse. Takes 5 guys to bring him down. Look, 1, 2, took 3 Gators. Unbelievable. To sack this motherfucker. Holy shit, we go 50-2, number 1 offense, top 10 defense in the NFL. A Week 18 domination over the Jets, in which Josh Jacobs goes for 200. I mean, just, he's so good. Like, how many consistent, like, Christian McCaffrey. I don't even want to say Derrick Henry, but like Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs are like the 3 sim gods. In Madden, now, a little bit of regression here in Caleb Williams in terms of yards, but 33 touchdowns to 1 interception. Yeah, that'll do. Josh Jacobs, 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns. We didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver, which is a little bit of a bummer, but still a respectable year out of Devontae Adams. Am I worried he's going to lose his X factor? Maybe a little bit, but we got bigger fish to fry than worrying about a 9. He's already 99 overall. We're probably not going to get a whole lot more out of him. In terms of, like, I don't know, is the X factor even going to help anything in the sim? Probably not. JOK and Diablo both go over 100 tackles. Our sacks, though, have kind of fell off a cliff. I love seeing that out of our rookie, though. Connor Morgan, undersized D tackle, thriving in that role in the NFL. 11 TFLs, 7 sacks in his rookie campaign. 3 picks for Hobbs and JOK. Quickly looking at the yearly award winners. Jalen Hurts wins the MVP with Caleb Williams coming in at number 7. And quickly looking for some Raiders. We have Connor Morgan winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, which is pretty nice. That is it. Okay. Well, we did get a first-round bye. We handled business in the regular season. We got our first divisional title. Sitting at 15-2. Would be very disappointed as a 93 overall squad to be one and done. But it's always kind of what happens, especially when you got to play Kansas City. But we have been, like, splitting the regular season with KC. That's how you know we got a good team, man. You beat Kansas City twice in 1 year. You can beat anybody. 379 yards, 4 tutties for Caleb Williams as the Raiders take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are also respectable. Almost a top 10 offense, top 5 defense. They're legit. What's what? 16 sacks. Okay, like, you know, this is gonna be the time that I call up Max Crosby and I say, look at what TJ Watt can do. He can get sacks. Remember, you used to be able to get sacks. How about you get yourself a Defensive Player of the Week and help propel this goddamn team 26-20 into a Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles? Please be Max Crosby. Oh, it's close. It is Caleb Williams again. 260 yards, 2 total touchdowns, 1 on the air, 1 through the ground, as it is setting up a big-time matchup. Caleb Williams versus Jalen Hurts for the Super Bowl here in year 4. And before that, we'll spend our points here on our Defensive Rookie of the Year, Connor Morgan. Undersized D tackle, but thrived. Give us some, I don't even know, 280, like Michael Bennett. Wasn't Michael Bennett kind of like that, undersized D tackle? Either way, up to a superstar dev, which I assume he got for his Defensive Rookie of the Year, which he did. Very nice. Pair that with our X Factor nose tackle. Whew. I don't know. If someone can stop the brotherly shove, if they were even in this game, That's what you'll be talking about IRL in this matchup. It's the D-line we have built. This is going to be an epic one. All right, we're going to play the moments again. As always, 3 opportunities that we can hop in that I will not shame myself for doing so, but really would love this team that we have built on their own to get themselves a Super Bowl in the sim. We turn the ball over in the red zone, which is brutal. We hold the Philadelphia Eagles to 3. We get the first tutty of the game, but Philadelphia responds going right down the field and getting a touchdown on themselves. So we're going to hop in here on 3rd and long right before the 2-minute warning to see if we can get something here. Just even a first down. A first down that could sparkle. We got best on best. That's probably what? Slay on Adams in the slot. We got Michael Mayer. We're going to throw it. Actually, Josh Jacobs out the backfield. Wins against the linebacker. Puts us in a real good spot there. So we get the tutty before halftime. Defense comes up strong to hold the Philadelphia Eagles off the board. Twice the Eagles have been deep in Raiders territory. 0 points on the board. And what are they going to do here? They go for it. They get the touchdown. We go right down the field. 3rd down. This will be the 2nd time we come in. And I'll tell you right now, we're going Michael Mayer. Eagles linebackers cannot cover Michael Mayer. And we get it to the big 87. Didn't need to dive. That's like when a hockey goalie makes a ridiculous glove save. They add a little stank on it. Don't need to. Makes it look better than what it was. But that is what we will take there. Key moments. Come on. Up 21-17. 3 minutes to go. Philly just can. Classic sim. Marches down the field. Didn't use a single timeout on that drive. Classic. And we now are here. 4th and 19. X Factor activated. I'm going to send Kaufman deep. That's our 97 speed wide receiver. We're going to have everybody else pass pro here. Let's make it happen. Let's make him. Oh, come on. He got him. He got him. Yes! You put Avonte Maddox, the slot, on our deep threat. That is a matchup. That is our last time we can come in. If we fuck up here, it was never meant to be. Yes! 28-24. Still in disbelief that we didn't botch that at all. Get the Super Bowl year 4. Playing with house money year 5. See if we can turn it into a dynasty. Win back-to-back. But our team is very good. Very legit. And I think deserved Super Bowl champions in this one. Very close. Philadelphia endured. They hung with us at the very end. An epic matchup between Jalen Hurts and Caleb Williams. But I do think the better team on the day was able to win. Bad matchup there by the Eagles, putting up a slot corner. Even though, I mean, Avonte Maddox, probably the fastest corner on the Eagles roster. But that's not saying much. Philly is a particularly slow secondary. And we got White Lightning out there. Caleb Williams to White Lightning, first Super Bowl for the Raiders in Vegas. And we're going to give ourselves an opportunity to go win one more to close out this rebuild. It's absolutely MVP goes to Caleb Williams with almost 350 yards passing, 4 tutties on the day. And it just got that much harder to win next year. Davante Adams shockingly retires as a Super Bowl champion after 13 years in the NFL. I don't know how we're going to replace him this offseason. Ask and you shall receive. How do we replace Davante Adams? I'll give him all $108 million to join our squad this offseason. All right, I'll tell you right now, I got Andre James. I'm going to offer him a contract back at right guard. There's just no one else there, but I literally am going to break the bank. I'm going to give him a $200 million contract. Overpay. He had 0 interest in joining us, so I'm going to give him 15 and 20. Whatever that ends up being. 6 years, $210 million. It's probably such a good offer. How is it still not first? I think we just gotta rock with that, man. I can't pay him much more. Fuck you, buddy! Oh, we don't even get this. What a bum, man. What an absolute. Who doesn't want to join the defending Super Bowl champ? What were his needs? Fucking sucking? Brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. Big worse now, like the Hail Mary would be like, is there an S tier wide receiver in the draft? No. There's literally, I would be shocked if any wide receiver goes in the first round that would have like any crazy depth trade. So we're picking here at 32. And there's only one wide receiver that even looks remotely and he's gone. Great. All right, awesome. The one guy that looked good, he was projected to go in the third round. Third round, sorry. Off the board. He was 6'4" and ran a 4.3. Yeah, like literally look at this. There's shit. D's and more, like it's like my goddamn report card. My math report card. D's, F's, C's. absolutely brutal that we didn't have any fighting chance, apparently, because we offered twice as much money than the Texans and couldn't get Jackson Smith-Njigba. We had no chance at getting a replacement, so I'll just go BPA, I guess. I don't know. And of course, yeah, just keep adding to it. Yeah, I mean, we did get a couple set. We got Marcus Mitchell, who's probably going to play for us this year. I mean, I might even be desperate enough to just see if I can trade. Can I offer a bunch of first-round picks to find any corner that's, like, on a contract year around the league? Because, like, at this point, man, there's no way. We haven't done enough. I don't want to see, where did that wide receiver go that I wanted? I think it was this guy. Isaiah Williams at Auburn, 6'4". Yeah, this is the guy that I wanted. Would have been probably happy with 74 hidden dev. What's the dev trade on him here? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, just to start, nothing crazy. All right, I don't know. Let's see if we can throw a Hail Mary here to try to trade for a wide receiver. Top wide receiver on the trade. I mean, there's just nothing needle moving there. So I do think we're going to have to try to land somehow a blockbuster trade. They didn't even need him. They signed Ayuk, and they still go in JSN. Like, do I just ask him for Tank Dell? Can Tank Dell be wide receiver 1 in this Raiders offense? Let's see. What do you want? 2 second-round picks. There you go. Boom. There we go. Revenge tour. Who needs JSN when you got Tank Dell? All right, here we go. This is where you need Caleb Williams to elevate those around him. We have a great wide receiver from 86, 88, 88. We don't have a Devontae Adams X factor to go to. We do have Michael Mayer, who gained a superstar dev last season. So I still think, even though we are down Devontae, we didn't get JSN with his X factor. There's still more than enough weapons for us to go back, defend our title, and win another Super Bowl, as this is a complete roster. The greatest center prospect of all time, up to a 92 superstar. But Caleb Williams as a 99 X factor, well, 98, and obviously will be an authentic 99, I imagine, within a couple weeks of this season. It's time for him to prove that he can do it without Devontae Adams. The defense looks really, really nice. Crosby, 98, 85 superstar, 88 X factor. Tyree Wilson's developed solidly. 2 superstars at linebacker. We got Jeremy Chin, Mulrig, Nate Hobbs, Carter, and Newsome. No weaknesses. This is a team that absolutely should be in the front runner spot for winning the Super Bowl. Here in year 5, getting back-to-back to close this out. Perfect way to start the weekend. Goes out to year 5, trying to defend our Super Bowl title. 93 overall squad, 13-4. We win our second AFC West title of the rebuild. We have the number 2 offense in the NFL. Really weird defense overall. Just outside the top 10. We have the best run defense, the worst pass defense. You know, I don't know. I don't know how you really digest that. Is it because our run defense is so good, teams just abandon the run and throw it on it, and it's just nature? I don't know. Caleb Williams, really nice season, though. 39 tutties to 3 interceptions, 4,000 yards on the dot. Josh Jacobs crushed it. He's been very consistent. Jacoby Myers stepped up into that wide receiver 1 role. 17 touchdowns, 1,100 yards. Tank Dell was respectable. Kaufman, decent as well as Michael Mayer. So it was kind of a community. The community of wide receivers replaced Devontae Adams. JOK and Diablo, great tackles. Man, it just sucks that our sacks kind of fell off a cliff here a little bit. More so just kind of is what it is. Here's the word. Lamar Jackson wins the MVP. Caleb Williams just inside the top 10. As far as overall award winners, Earl Giowers, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see from a generational center. At least one Offensive Lineman of the Year award. Would be pretty cool if he just somehow got X Factor off of that. But while we are here, let's look at the career stats. I always kind of forget to do this now. Caleb Williams, through 4 seasons, 16,000 yards passing, 144 touchdowns, only 18 interceptions. He has protected the football at an S-tier Aaron Rodgers-esque level, which is pretty disgusting. Josh Jacobs sitting at 12,500 yards rushing, 119 touchdowns. We got him receiving it. Obviously, Jacoby Myers split some of that between us and the Patriots. Really, the only homegrown guys here. We have Kaufman with 37 yards, 22 touchdowns, just under 35 and 24 for Michael Mayer. On the defense side, Diablo, leading tackler of the rebuild, 700 tackles. We got 80.5 sacks for Max Crosby. Definitely a little bit lower. I thought he would be copy and paste, 15 sack a year type player. Unfortunately, not the case. And really just no sacks. Like Tyree Wilson, nothing to write home about. We've drafted really, really good players across that front 7, but no one really prolific in terms of sacks. Nate Hobbs finishes with 12 interceptions, For the rebuild, as we gear up here, year 5 to go and defend our Super Bowl title, what has been a very good rebuild, all things considered, for Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. Why not, man? This has been one of the few teams we have built that can handle the Chiefs, that I feel optimistic against the fucking Chiefs. And we lose, and we crash and burn, and thank God we won the Super Bowl last year, because that'd be bad. 21-13, it's just, there's only so many times you can taste your luck against the Chiefs and expect to come out on top. Caleb Williams played well. We just couldn't really run the ball. Any game that Josh Jacobs doesn't get 100, that's kind of our blueprint to winning games. We didn't get any pressure. We didn't force any turnovers, which has been definitely something that's happened in terms of, like, what's a common denominator. In the Chiefs' victory, we've had a lot of defensive player of the weeks with multiple interceptions. Couldn't find that here today, but ultimately might be, I don't even want to say, because a lot of times when you fire a team and fire a coach and your team's kind of going towards, I don't want to say a tank, like the Raiders didn't really shift a lot IRL before the trade deadline. But, for where we were, I think the future is bright for the Raiders team. You're seeing what a good coach and a franchise quarterback can do with the pieces already in place. This is a team that absolutely could be special. This is a team that absolutely could have a very quick turnaround if they get a Caleb Williams, a Drake May, and find the right head coach for said quarterback. Shout out to a generational center right there. But all in all, very, very good rebuild. Happy that we can get an also little check mark right next to the Raiders here on the official rebuild spreadsheet. I think right next, I think it might need to be the Commanders, especially with how they sold at the trade deadline. But whatever team you guys want to see rebuilt next, let me know in the comment section below. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Trying to slowly creep our way up to 170,000 subscribers here on the channel. So everyone that is new and joins, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff for the YouTube robots. That's all I ask for in return, man. Just likes, just little comments. Comment what team you want to see me rebuild next. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.